This video is presented by EA Creator Network. Hey hands, how we all diddly doing? How's everybody holding up? Just before we start this video, I do just want to say this is my ideal type of expansion pack. This is the type of expansion pack I've been waiting for since Sims 4 came out. But that doesn't mean that I won't be critiquing anything if I don't like that. Prior to this, I did get offered to have a creator code and I chose to decline that because in case I did like the pack, I didn't want people thinking, oh, she only likes the pack because she's got a creator code. But welcome to the Sims 4 Growing Together review. I've genuinely been waiting for this pack since 2014 and she's here. I have a lot to say. We got a new world with this pack, which is San Sequoia. San Sequoia began as a small fishing town, then became a hub of the fishing and canning industry due to the influence of local fisherman turned entrepreneur Barney Robles. The Robles family is still very much entrenched in the area, even as it has expanded over time thanks to Gilbert Gilberts. Today, San Sequoia is home to cozy streets, a beautiful park with gardens, and quiet suburban neighborhoods. It's the perfect place to raise a family. And it's based on San Francisco, which, fun fact, I have actually been to. Me, Steph, and Molly got caught in a rainstorm in San Francisco. It's quite fun, quite fresh, quite interesting. A San Francisco themed world is not necessarily the world I would say we needed, or even I wouldn't really associate San Francisco with being like a family type place. I don't know, I didn't grow up there, but with this type of pack I expected not America. And San Sequoia has 3 neighborhoods within the world, 12 lots in total and 4 lots within each neighborhood. So the suburban area is called Hopewell Hills. And then on the right we do have a family, which is the Lana Sullivan family. Carmine's dad died in a tragic cooking accident, honestly rip, and her mum needed help, so Grandma Eleanor moved in to be the grandma in charge-ish, except Grandma's just as silly as Carmine is, which is interesting because there's not many multi-generation households in The Sims 4. Rip to the dad though. Hope he cooked a good meal anyway. I mean, he cooked himself. Here's the meal. He ate. And then on the left in the big house is the family that we saw in the trailer, the Michelsons. I don't know where the granddad is from the trailer. I expected the granddad to be like within the vicinity or even just within the world. He is not. He has nothing of the sort. They killed the granddad. They ate the granddad. That's a lie. I'm making that up. But you know what? He may have potentially been murdered. He's also not on the family tree either. I checked. And then a big part of this map area features this pier and this building, which I just assumed to be an ice cream shop. I don't know. It could have been a fishing shop or something like that. This is at the first time I felt frustrated with the map because it's so pretty, but that's all it is. And it looks so high detail that you almost expect to be able to interact with it. But apart from that, apart from being pretty, it doesn't really serve a purpose. There's not even a bench on it or a fishing spot. So realistically, it looks pretty, but my Sims aren't ever really going to use that spot because there's nothing to do there. There's another little pier with what looks like to be a water entrance, but it's unusable. For a water themed world, there's like a significant lack of water themed activities, and I don't mean like new activities, I mean base game ones now, like swimming and fishing. Despite the fact that you're in a fishing world, there's not much fishing to be had specifically in this area. And then on the right hand side we have Gilbert Gardens. It has the rec centre and splash park, but it also has 3 residential lots, one of which is empty, one is vacant, and then one has the Robles-Rano family. Both parents are hoping that their unique ways will rub off on their slightly clingy daughter Tala, with a little love Tala issue of growing up a confident and creative kid. In this economy, Tala will focus on the recreational centre because it is a brand new lot type that was added into the game. I actually did like this type of build a lot. I gravitate to a lot in my gameplay. I found that I was making all of my family members go there, all ages. I could take every family member there. I could drop my infant off there and they'd sit and play in the baby part while I went out to go build a skill in the gym. No potties in the toilet. Justice for toddlers. One thing that griped me as well, and this isn't like about the build or anything, this is just about the mechanics in game. There is a baby gate. It doesn't automatically keep out toddlers, which I understand if you're living at home, but because you can't lock gates on a community lot, I found that my toddler was just in the rogue era, just going all around the place, where I would have rather have been able to keep like the infants and toddlers in this one specific area. But there is also a lot of cooking that happens here, so like I didn't even have to work. My Sims could just build the skills and then go get food. The Sims team did put out a tweet saying that there was art classes in here, but I've seen nothing of the sort. There is absolutely nothing of the sort. But that would have been so cool, and I'm a bit sad that there's not actually art classes, because as much as I did find the rec centre fun and usable, you could arguably just make a rec centre out of any lot. So I would have liked to have seen something specifically unique to the rec centre, and art classes would have done that. And then around the rec centre, there is actually part of the world that's interactable. There are walking signs, because this world has 3 active walking areas where you can go on a power walk or go on a jog with your baby in your carrier. However, good luck finding these ones because that was one of the most frustrating experiences of my life. Apparently there's 3. I've not been able to find 3. I've only been able to find 1. And that one, I was like, look, you know when a cat's with a laser, like I felt like my eyes were doing that across the street trying to find it. It's not easy to locate. It's quite difficult actually. And then the water park is just off the rec centre. This isn't an actual lot. It's just a park within the map. I did really enjoy the splash park. You know, I'm going to say Flamingo Land, wild animals, wild rides. However, and it's not that I dislike the gameplay. Love the gameplay actually. I was spending just as much time clicking as my Sims were playing. You couldn't just send them to play for an hour while you were in the rec centre or something. There is also a swimming spot here though, which is on the entrance to the rec side. And it doesn't really matter, but it would make more sense to me to have the entrance at the swimming side, but that's a little bit, it doesn't necessarily matter, I guess. I did expect more swimming entrances in the world though, because so much of the map is literally water. And then finally we have the city centre, which is Anchor Point Wharf. And a lot of this neighbourhood is along the water's edge, but the water just isn't usable at all. There's even this gorgeous part of this map that like it slopes down, and I was thinking it was going to be usable for fishing because it's so stunning, and I saw signs and got excited, but no, the signs say no fishing. I felt like a clown. And then there's this beautiful built up area that it's so colourful and so pretty. I actually got really excited when I saw it, but there's nothing usable here either apart from a food stand. It's pretty, but it's kind of useless because your Sim's just not going to go over there. However, there is a movie theatre in this section, and I'm very happy to see this here. Also, yes, I've seen that Practice and Prejudice is a movie, and yes, I'm about to deliver some lore on that. So Practice and Prejudice is actually a book that got released with The Sims 4 Werewolves, and now with The Sims 4 Growing Together is now a feature-length film. So GG the lore, Practice and Prejudice is worldwide. And the movie theatre in of itself is a rabbit hole, and I know that some people aren't going to be impressed with that. Some people are going to want an actual movie experience. But for me, I'm very happy with it being a rabbit hole. I loved the fact that it was a rabbit hole in The Sims 3 because honestly, my worst type of nightmare is trying to orchestrate all of my Sims actually sitting down and watching a movie at the same time in a community lot with other Sims also trying to sit down and watch a movie. So I'm very happy for me that it's a rabbit hole. But I understand as well if other people don't want it to be a rabbit hole. They do also get a buff if they go and watch a film. So if they watch a romantic film, they'll be feeling romantic naturally. It is accessible through bb.show live edit objects, so you can technically place this in a different world, but instead of in Santa Coya, it's got the animation of your Sim walking up to the doors and then disappearing in. If you place it in a different world, it'll have the animation of them about to walk off lot, but it will class them as going to see a film. I do generally like the world. Like, I definitely don't think it's the world we needed. I don't think that this style of world, like this American city, is the type of world that I would have had on my list that we needed, you know, but it's the world that we got. And there are a lot of great things about it that will make me like pick this world for my Sims over something like Willow Creek. I do wish the world around it would be more interactable. One thing I noticed straight off the bat that I noticed as soon as I loaded up Creator Sim was that it did feel more even between masculine and feminine frames, where usually we get an abundance of clothes for feminine frames and then masculine frames are always lacking. And it's something that for a long time we've been saying we would love more masculine clothes, and we have more masculine tops than we do feminine tops in this one. So a win is a win, a win is a win. Female full body has a lot more outfits, and honestly I think Infant probably won this one, which makes sense. They have a lot of cute clothing styles, and it's kind of given H&M, and I do like H&M, so you know it's not a complaint from me. A lot of the stuff as well is unisex, which I greatly enjoy. I like not having them hidden behind that kind of thing, especially when it's like childhood clothes. There is a great variety of outfits, and also something that I noticed was that something that I thought was quite an old style would have swatches on it that made it more youthful, and something that was more youthful would have like more neutral swatches, because I was kind of worried that my teenagers would be wearing old maiden type shoes, and they were not. They were nothing of the sort. Also, as well as having a variety of swatches and all of the swatches kind of serving different purposes, there was also similarity between the swatches. So all of the skirts had like similar swatch styles, and that's also a theme that I saw throughout Build and Buy as well. So I really feel like the Sims team have been listening on that regard and are making matching swatches to things. It did feel very cohesive. I also loved the amount of freckles and moles that we got, and they're available for multiple ages as well. I have a mole on my lip that my mum thought was chocolate, despite the fact that I literally came out of her womb. So hopefully I can recreate that in The Sims, but no, there is a really nice selection of them. And there's also Strawberry Max, which I have one on my foot. And then in terms of traits and aspirations, kids actually have a new aspiration called multi-skill, which has 4 subcategories of creative genius, playtime captain, slumber party animal, and mind and body. There's no new traits or aspirations for any of the life stages. As far as I could tell, I would be very willing to be proved wrong on this, but it's nice to see that kids have something new because they've been quite static for a while. I was disappointed by there not being any other ones. Then I saw the Sims characteristics and conversation topic section, so it does kind of make sense for them to want to focus on something that will strengthen the gameplay aspects being delivered in the pack. So Sim characteristics will determine what type of personalities this Sim will be socially compatible with. Sim's characteristics are determined from several aspects, including but not limited to a Sim's traits, experiences they've had in life, or activities they like, dislike. So this basically helps indicate how your Sims will get on with other Sims. And while they're not traits, I actually think it's a really good element of gameplay, especially when the Sims 4 traits are lacking in the entire gameplay department. I feel like Sims 4 traits are more of a suggestion rather than like something that actually impacts your gameplay. But Sims characteristics, for me, I found actually helped me make fleshed out Sims. So they're not full on traits, but they kind of give you Sims a bit more of a personality. So you could have a Sim that's a complete dog lover, but does not like animal enthusiasts. So it's a good way to make your Sims more well-rounded. I actually kind of prefer them to traits, which is a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a good thing. And then we also have conversation topics. Not every conversation can be a great one. Conversation topic preferences dictate how a Sim will react when another Sim performs that type of interaction on them. For example, if one Sim performs a small talk interaction on another Sim who dislikes small talk, it will have a much smaller chance of success than normal. Thank the fucking Lord that this got introduced, genuinely, because Sims are too easy in Sims 4, especially with before only being able to have 3 traits. So the addition of like actual complicated interactions and relations with Sims characteristic and conversation topics is absolutely great for me, and it does impact your gameplay as well. I will show actual gameplay further on in the video when I talk about the actual gameplay, but this is just straight out create a Sim. 18 conversation topics to choose from and 18 characteristics as well. It reminds me of the interests in The Sims 2, which if I'm comparing something to Sims 2, it's a good thing for me. However, I will say interests in The Sims 2 were base game, and this is not. And then family dynamics, again, I will talk about this in more detail when I actually get onto the gameplay, but I wanted to bring it up in Create a Sim because you can also just select these straight from Create a Sim. So if you make a family from scratch rather than like, I was going to say breeding them, but maybe potentially not that word. But yeah, if you make a family from scratch in Create a Sim, you can already have these dynamics like applied to them in game, which I like that you can. I like having the options to just add things straight away, but also to be able to attain them in game. And then for build by, usually I just put every single object on the lot and like zoom past so you can see them. But I decided to do something different with this one so you can kind of get a feel of how these objects work in game. And I will go in more detail on the build and buy gameplay objects. I have a section dedicated to that, which impressed me a lot. But generally the build buy was a bit of a mixed bag for me. There were some things that I absolutely loved. Like we have a new fridge, a new oven, and a new cooker hood, which I absolutely adored. I adored the style of them because they seem quite classic in the sense of if you put these in an elder household, it would make sense. But also if you put them in a young household, it would also make sense, that type of thing. And also the shower and bath combo and the sink, I absolutely loved it. I loved the style of it. Yeah, there's a lot of mix of like old and new furniture. Specifically, there's a new settee that's a Chesterfield, but then there's also a really modern settee, and there's a wooden coffee table, which is absolutely stunning. I really like the doors actually, and I like the swatches. Again, the swatches have a lot of variety. There's a navy swatch as well, which I find is really modern. And the triangle windows are absolutely great. The only new flooring was tile. I mean, it's a nice tile, but yeah, I was expecting, I don't know, something just a little bit more, especially because this is an expansion pack, you know. Also, there's no kids wallpapers. So for a pack that's like so focused on the family lifestyle and everything, I did expect, you know, at least one kid's wallpaper. The majority of wallpaper is external wallpaper, bricks and stuff. So yeah, it was a bit of a mixed bag. Some of the stuff I was like, oh my goodness. And then some of the stuff, I would say build for me, more than buy mode felt lacking. And I think this is the type of thing where I'm like, okay, so if we didn't get a world shipped with this pack, would we have had a more well-rounded build and buy mode? And then I wanted to dedicate an entire part of it to gameplay objects, because there are a lot of objects in this pack that are actual like proper gameplay items. So first off, the treehouse. I did like the treehouse, and it is a woohoo spot. I repeat, the treehouse is a woohoo spot. It originally starts out as a tree. This one you actually work on it together, and you can either work on this on your own as an adult or as an adult and a child, but a child can't work on this alone. A child. But once it's built, you can change decorations on it, and the decoration styles are Island Castaway, Pirate Hideout, Space Explorer, Fairy Tale Castle, or just simply undecorated. And you can also upgrade it as well to have a bell, a light, slide, and a fireman's pole. And also this does actually impact gameplay, so your child sims can go and play on it, and they will use all of these items, and that was one of my favourite things about it. It is quite an item for all of the family, apart from toddlers and infants, but fuck them kids and fuck you too. So outside bit, you can sit on it and watch nature. Multiple ages can do that. But there's also play pretend. Within the enclosure bit, you can actually see inside it, but your sims can nap, relax, play, or sleep within the enclosure. But I like that the majority of playing actually happens outside, so you can actually see it. You can set it to kids only, teen only, or exclude adults. No parents allowed. Extra cool fun thing about this that I really liked is that you can actually add objects up there. If you're in build mode, you can search placeable on Treehouse, and it comes up with objects that you can actually put on there. So you can put skill building things. So honestly, your kids are fucking sorted in this treehouse. They don't even need a bedroom. And then we have the changing table / nappy bin. It does have a good couple of variants, and it definitely works. However, it did feel a little bit weird that a lot of the variants match with base game items. Nappies going on the floor is a base game mechanic now. So it felt a bit weird to me to have all of these locked behind a paywall, especially when changing tables have been base game in previous games. But we do also have a communal style changing machine. And you can also change your toddler's nappies on this, so it's not just exclusive to infants. And the nappy bin comes separately, but you can add it to the table. So if you have it on the table, nappies automatically go into it. If you don't have it, nappies will go on the floor and you'll have to clean them up yourselves. Again, this is now a base game mechanic, and I absolutely love the addition of this, because one thing about me, I love cleaning up after my sims. If things are just automatically tidy, it's no fun for me, babe. Another pack exclusive item is the baby carrier. And it definitely works. Like, the baby can go in there and you can definitely walk about with it and stuff, and you can pick up other infants. But you can't carry a toddler while you've got an infant on your backpack. But I do think that the baby carrier might cause a couple of routing issues, and it might already be fixed by the time that the game comes out, but I did experience it. So I just wanted you to know I experienced quite a lot of routing issues. Like, one time the baby just got absolutely stuck to my foot, and everywhere I was walking, the baby walked with me. This did fix itself by resetting object, but it happened enough that I had to reset objects quite a couple of times. So you can have tummy time on either the base game mat or the play mat. And infants learning skills, this is a mechanic that's exclusive to The Sims 4 Growing Together. The play mat is one of the ways that you can do these things. So it starts off with tummy time, they learn how to roll over, and then you can practice sitting. Then once they learn how to grab, they can actually play with the play mat, so they can like hit the balls, you know. Then we have the jigsaw / symbol / cards. Is basically like a games table, so you can play symbols, which I think is supposed to be Scrabble, cards, or jigsaws. And there's different size puzzles that you can choose from as well for the jigsaws, like 500 pieces or 1,000 pieces. Different themes, so the sci-fi, fantasy, landscape, or animals. And you can also do jigsaw from reference as well, so you can take a photo in game of something and then it will put it onto the jigsaw and you can build it. And it was a proper family event for me. Like, I did really enjoy it. Once one of my sims started building this jigsaw, all of the family came in to help, so I really liked seeing them all naturally be inclined to use it without me having to interact and like have them sit all there. I really enjoyed that. It was a really sweet event for me. I really liked it. But you could also be a little shit and steal a puzzle piece as well. You can give it back, but also if you don't give it back, they can still frame it, but it will be without the piece, which was a nice touch. And then we have the kids' bikes. I did have a lot of glitches with this bike. Again, this might be something that is updated, but for a lot of time, like, my sim just had one leg straight, like straight down, and then just this one foot. Like, that's how my sim rode a bike, and I thought that was just the animation till I reset it, and no, it was just a glitch. So hopefully that's fixed. It's under the motor skill, and I am genuinely so thankful for that, because I do think it makes a lot more sense that a sim who's incredibly talented in the motor skill would be able to ride a bike easier than a sim who has no motor skill, you know. But yeah, your kids can learn how to ride bikes, and they can do this with the help of an adult, or they can practice it on their own. And then once they learn how to ride the bike, they can like ride it around the place and use it to travel locations. But I did like the whole learning aspect to it. I liked how it became a gameplay mechanic for my family, rather than just, here's a bike and your kid automatically knows how to use it. And then we have friendship bracelets. This can either be made using the friendship bracelet box, or your sims can craft them on the activity tables. Anyone of any age can make them, which I thought was a nice touch. And you can only exchange friendship bracelets if both of the Sims have one in their inventory, and you have to actually be friends with them. I didn't actually like this aspect of it. I wish that you could just give I like that you can both exchange them, but I wish you could just give one Sim a friendship bracelet, because I know it's all about family and everything, but what if I had a friend from school? We also have suitcases and sleeping bags, and these are kind of utilised for the sleepover and stay over events, which I will go into in more detail then, but your Sims they work how you expect them to work. You sleep in a bag, babe. And then the suitcases, it essentially works as a wardrobe, so they are usable. For the water park and sprinklers, I have already talked about this in the neighbourhood. I am genuinely thankful that they included these as actual objects that you can put in your own house, and it's not just tied to the world. Really enjoyed that. Thank you, Sims team. And then the keepsake box is the last gameplay item that I'll be talking about. It's essentially a storage box, but it has gameplay elements to it. So if you're an elder, you can designate this box for yourself. You can ponder the meaning of family, but you can't do this constantly, and it'll impact the next family member that they talk to. Kind of like a little reward, you know? It's kind of like a little way to get a family dynamic. You can entrust the keepsake box to another Sim, and they will get it and everything inside of it, because you can keep things in it. My Sim is inheriting 3 mechanical upgrade parts. That's in the will, but entrusting it just means literally giving them it. I thought it meant that in death you shall receive this box from me, but now they just pass it on. Does have a nice animation though. Then we move on to the actual gameplay. I'm quite excited to talk about this one. The gameplay in this pack, it's more like seasons, where it impacts your general gameplay day to day, and it's kind of constantly there. And I already discussed gameplay in terms of objects, so I won't really be touching that there. This is personal Sim gameplay and how Sims interact with each other and how they interact with life as they grow up and stuff. So first off, we have family dynamics, Sim characteristics, and talking. For Sims characteristics and conversation topics, like we already covered in Create a Sim, for one family, I made the mum and son have the exact same characteristics and conversation preferences, but they had bad compatibility, which was interesting. But I made the daughter the complete opposite of the mum, and they didn't have good compatibility, which I was nervous that they would. They had awful compatibility, which I was glad for. So you can see this through the puzzle piece in, if you click open Sim info. The family dynamics do actually impact gameplay. I'm not going to do an exhaustive list of every single one, but families with the difficult dynamic will be mean to each other more. The younger Sim will be less likely to follow the rules or demands of the older Sim. Permissive Sims tend to let things slide with the younger Sims, and also they'll shower them in affection and compliments. Family members with close dynamics will tend to just gravitate towards each other more, but if they're distant, they won't go out of the way to interact or spend time together. In terms of talking points as well, like I said, I was quite scared that I would just click this and then it wouldn't really have any impact on gameplay, but it does actually impact how your Sims interact with each other. For example, I had a son that loved affection and a daughter that hated affection. The majority of the time, if the son went to go hug the daughter would decline the hug, even though they had a good relationship, because she didn't like affection. So it was really nice to see that. You can declare one member of the family the favourite, which my mum refuses to say who her favourite is, but I know it's me. But it does come with a consequence. Any family member that's not picked will feel sad about it, which is very relatable, because my grandma definitely picks favourites and it is definitely not me. And then we have milestones, which milestones are one of my favourite things that they've introduced to The Sims 4, but trust that it is not a new concept, and it began with The Sims 2. And in The Sims 2, it was included in base games. I at least assumed that some form of milestones would be base game, but they were not. But I do really enjoy the milestones, specifically the infant milestones, and this are really, really, really good. So it's things like firsts, life, and social. So it's kind of like The Sims 2 memories more than The Sims 3 memories. And then I'm going to go into the gameplay of each life stage, because I don't know, I felt like that was the best way to separate it. So starting with infants, I would say the two main things that we have for infants are milestones and quirks. Milestones are a huge thing where you can basically help your infant grow and learn all of the firsts, like learn how to coo. And then infants also have quirks. Toddlers have this too, but they're different between the two life stages. And the quirks that your Sim has as an infant might not be the same quirks I have as a toddler. There's 18 quirks for infants and 18 quirks for toddlers. And now on to children. The first thing I need to talk about with children is loose teeth, because this is something that I absolutely was terrified. I have anxiety dreams about losing all of my teeth. So seeing this in The Sims, I was a bit like, I actually fucking loved this element in the game. I really like how they operated, and I didn't expect me to be saying this, but you do get a notification that your tooth is wobbly. There's 20% chance of your Sim having a loose tooth when they wake up. So it's not just like a predetermined set amount of teeth that you lose. And then once your tooth is loose, you can either wobble it to make it more loose, you can brush it to make it more loose, or you can just rip it out. I've ripped it out every single time apart from the last one. I'm just like, you know what I mean? It's just like to get things over and done with. And then once it's out, your Sim can actually put it under the pillowcase, go to sleep. And then when they wake up, they'll have a little present from the Tooth Fairy and get some allowance. It was just really cute. I actually genuinely loved this gameplay mechanic. When your sim rips the tooth out, they do actually have a gap in the teeth. Yeah, it was really nice to have a visible change to your sim's appearance rather than just have a moodlet. And confidence is also something that's in game right now. So your sims basically start out with a neutral confidence when they're a child, and this can impact your sim for the rest of their life, so you better take good care of it. I jest. The confidence bit is actually something that kind of fell short for me. I found it way too easy. My child was just a dick. Like, he was a dick to everybody. And all of this stuff is supposed to impact your sim's confidence. And it did. And it finally got into the negative confidence, and then one nice interaction towards him and he was feeling confident again. It just fell a little bit short for me because it does have consequences in game. Like, it does impact them for the entire life, which I've really enjoyed. It wasn't really hard enough for me. Then we got on a teen. So if your child sims are confident, they will grow up to be teenagers with high self-esteem. If they're not, they're teenagers with low self-esteem. And it basically impacts their emotions. So if you have a child with high confidence, your teen will be confident a lot of the time. Love that for them. But out of all of the life stages, I do feel like teens were the most neglected. High school years has just come out and that was literally all focused towards teens. But if you don't have high school years and you have this pack, teens would definitely feel like it is lacking. And then we move on to adult. The rise in the top of the career, and then shit, they have burnout. I was shocked when it happened to me. I was making massive work. You better work, bitch. And then it came up on the screen. Oh no, your sim is suffering from burnout. And I was like, oh. Literally me. Autistic people suffer from something called autistic burnout, where we lose skills and regress, and that happened to me in 2020. So if you think I'm different than 2020, that's why a bit. But I really enjoyed this aspect of gameplay, and it really imitated life. It actually impacts how you can progress in your career and how fast you can build skills. Brilliant. Really enjoyed that. I'm widdly hitting a gwiddy right now. I'm so excited over it. And just like me IRL, when my sim got burnt out, I was like, just soldier on, babe. Just carry on through it. Who gives a fuck if you're burnt out? And then I got a notification that I had full-on brain block and had even worse repercussions and took even longer to get rid of. So it really did imitate life. Also, as an adult, you can undergo self-discovery, and they can get up to 3 new traits, which I liked because you are always changing, but you can also deny it. So if a trait comes up and you don't want it, you can just click cancel. And then there's also midlife crisis, which I'm so happy to see. This was first introduced in The Sims 3. I'm pretty sure we didn't have it in The Sims 2. And in your aspiration panel, things will pop up that your sim will want to do. You don't have to do it, but if you engage in their midlife crisis, the faster it will go. And there's a 3% chance of a midlife crisis every 12 hours. And it goes up to 33% chance of a midlife crisis if your sim is stressed, angry, or sad at that moment. In terms of working in the career, 2 new things as well. There's work rivals. There's 2.5% chance of having a work rival at work. And certain traits also make this more likely or less likely. So if you're really friendly, then it's less likely to have a work rival. If you're really hot-headed and mean, more likely. Layoffs are also something that can happen to your sim now. So there's a 1% chance to start a layoff period. And just editing, I forgot to say that you can also have a science baby. You can have a science baby with yourself, or you can use a donor, but you do have to have a bit of a friendship with that donor, but you don't have to have a romantic relationship or anything. So that's pretty cool. And then finally, the final life stage, we have elders. The main gameplay addition I noticed with elders is that they can give life lessons on family, give life lessons on love, reminisce on old times to any younger sim in the family. Another cute detail that I noticed was that I had a sim and the grandparent was staying around. My child sim was interacting with her, and then I looked in the child sim's inventory that actually got grandparent candy, which is really cute and really realistic actually, because the feeders. There's also keepsake boxes, which I have already basically covered in gameplay objects. Unfortunately, no retirement homes, which I wish that there was. Elders felt a little bit lacking too, kind of like teens. I expected, I don't know, bingo, a walking stick. Nothing really felt that exclusive to elders apart from the keepsake box and the grandparent candy. Finally, all we have left is social events. Since these are accessed by the phone, I'm going to quickly shot in that you can also have a chatty family call through the phone as well. That's not necessarily a social event, but it's kind of related. So I thought I'd just shot it in there, babe. Anyway, there's technically 3 new social events, but I'm going to call it 4. So there's baby showers, family reunion, sleepovers, and stayovers, which are not a sleepover. Let's start off with sleepovers. Anyone of any age can have a sleepover. It's not exclusive to children or teenagers, which I absolutely loved. The gameplay opportunities for this would be absolutely fucking fantastic. And the layout of it is like a regular social event. So you schedule it and you have to complete objectives. Guests bring their own sleeping bags and you can send everyone to sleep in them. You can have snacks, which is literally just a pizza. That is one thing I would have expected, more snacks. I really enjoyed sleepovers though. They're one of my favorite aspects of the Sims 3 generations, and I I know for a fine fact that I will use the shit out of sleepovers. And then if you do a really good job, you get a sleepover bag as a reward. You get a toddler one for silver and your own Dulux sleeping bag for gold. And stayovers basically sleepovers but without the sleeping bags, and it's for more of an extended period of time, and it's also there's no goals. You can just have another sim stay with you. You can do this by using the phone, or if you have a good relationship with your sims can ring up and suggest one and then they'll come over. You can cancel it straight from the calendar if something like this happens to you. But yeah, I did genuinely find this really helpful. Specifically, I found it really helpful when my sim had the first baby. I invited the mum round and they do genuinely help, and I found them to be quite intuitive. There was a couple of struggles sometimes trying to get everyone to sleep at the same time because you can't control them, but they did tend to help out around the house. They helped with the kids and they made a lot of food. So yeah, I did find it genuinely helpful. Again, it's going to be something that I do use a lot. And then we have baby showers. Baby showers, again, just a social event, but they were really fun too. They work like a regular social event, but people come, they can give you baby related items, you give baby name suggestions. I expected to be able to type a name and like have a list of names that were suggested to me. This didn't happen. It's kind of just an interaction. So that one was a little bit shallow. And you can gush about baby, predict future career. And if you have a super successful baby shower, you unlock a new bassinet. And then family reunions, basically what it says on the tin, like it's a family reunion and it's all focused around family. So you got to take like 20 pictures and it unlocks photo frames. Fucking love a photo frame. Fucking love a gallery wall in The Sims 4. Some of the interactions I thought were a bit half-baked, but like as a whole, I loved them. Where the fuck are funerals? I really expected funerals to be part of this pack. I really did. It just makes sense, you know what I mean? Growing together and dying together, babe. You can't have growth without death. That is deep as fuck. But yeah, no funerals, unfortunately. So that is my entire review. For gameplay, I'm going to rate it 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed playing with it. It made me excited and I didn't want to stop playing with it. And I'm sad that I only got such a short time with it. And I've managed to sink over 30 hours into the gameplay in over 2 days. So I definitely enjoyed it. Build and buy mode, 6 out of 10. I would have probably rated this lower had I not had so much fun with the gameplay items. I did really enjoy them, but I did feel like build and buy as a general was kind of lacking and not enough variety, specifically on flooring and wallpaper, which we all know I feel strongly about. Create a sim, 7 out of 10. Would have rated it much higher if it had more traits and aspirations, because I do feel like there should be a staple with every single pack. But I did think that a lot of the items were very strong and very versatile. And I also enjoyed the additions to like and dislikes and how it impacted gameplay. The world, 6 out of 10. I did enjoy the splash pack. I did enjoy the movie theatre. However, a lot of it unusable. So I struggle to rate it higher than 6. Pretty, but unusable. Value for money, I'm going to rate 3.5 out of 10. As much as I enjoyed every single other aspect of the gameplay and I had an absolutely great time, and I do think that you will enjoy it, I struggle to rate it high value for money purely because so many of the features that are being sold in this expansion pack were released in base game and previous things. So all in all, that is The Sims 4 growing together. Was really scared for this pack actually, because this is, like I said, this is my exact type of gameplay. It's something that I've been waiting for since The Sims 4 came out. So because so much of this expansion pack is literally catered to my playstyle and my game style, I do feel like it was a good match for me. But yeah, that's everything that I have for you today. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching this video and I will see you in the next one.